If you write down what you want on a card in present tense and you carry it everywhere with you, I guarantee it will happen in your life. Not maybe, not if, it will absolutely happen in your life because we literally become what we think about.
This is By Joey Joanne Season 2. I'm your host, Joanne Chan, and every Wednesday we bring you inspiring stories, powerful message, and fun conversations with me and my special guests and friends, and it's my personal mission to empower you to live and lead a life with joy. This podcast is for you if you're looking for more joy, courage, passion, and purpose in your life. Now let's dive into today's episode and get ready to laugh, learn, and live your life to the fullest. Joining us today is a business mentor who helps entrepreneurs break income plateaus by upgrading the self-image and subconscious patterns running their business. After being kicked out of school at 13 with no formal education or business background, he went on to build an online business generating £18,000 in monthly cash flow. These results led him to study directly under Bob Proctor, where he became one of the top 1% of Bob's consultants in the Circle of Excellence within 18 months. And today he works with business owners who are doing well on paper but feel stuck at the same level of income, confidence, or momentum. So he's here today to empower you to stop forcing growth and start operating from a higher level of clarity, certainty, and personal authority. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcoming the top 1% Bob Proctor consultant, the one and only Joel McCleoud. Joel, welcome to the show.
Thank you. What an amazing introduction. Thank you for having me, Joanne.
Yeah, I'm excited that you are here, that we are connected. I have to ask this, like this is gonna be my first question. So you were kicked out of school at 13 with no formal education and no business background. How did that, since this is all about self-image, right? How did that early experience shape your self-image and identity?
That's an amazing question. Yeah, well, I grew up in a place called Manchester
Yeah.
in England, and I grew up on a council estate. So, for someone in America, they call it the projects. And I was just a product. We're all products of our environment. So everyone around me smoked cannabis. Mom, dad, pretty much all my family members. So I grew up, smoking cannabis as well. People around me was, selling illegal substances and stuff like that. So when I got to like 12 and 13, like when I was 7, 8, I was kind of like a good boy. I wanted to be a footballer, but then I went to high school, and I started mixing with a crowd that wasn't doing the best things. I eventually started smoking cannabis myself, and I wasn't the best kid in terms of sit down and listen in the classroom. So that led me to 13. Yeah, I got kicked out of high school at 13, and then I started going to they're called projects. So it's when you get kicked out of school, you kind of go to this like off-site school where you don't even work. You just play pool and just catch up with your friends. But then again, when I'm in the projects, everyone around me smoking weed, everyone's selling weed. So I just literally became a product of my environment. And I genuinely believed that for a long time that I wasn't going to amount to anything. I thought it was rather be a bum my whole life and stay stuck on this council estate or jail. I really believe that because that's all that I seen around me. And then gradually, when I got older, I moved out of that estate and I started picking up books. But yeah, for a long time, I genuinely believed that that was my life. It's crazy when I think about it.
Yes. And so, yeah, I saw my questions. Okay, first question is, I think this also applies to the other question that I want to ask, which is, so how did you not become, in the end, how did you change your life? Or how did you not become the product of your environment?
Well, I met this woman who's I mean, we're not together anymore, but she's the mother of my children. She's a great woman. And when we started dating, I she lived in a different area of Manchester. She wasn't coming to my area, I was going to her area. And then the more serious we got, the more time I was spending at her house. the less time I was spending in that environment. And I seen her mum, she worked. I seen her dad, he worked. And it kind of expanded my mind a little bit. Like, I've been living in this like little box. Now I'm out of the box and I can see that I could maybe get out of it. Maybe you can, live the life that you want. And for some reason, I genuinely believe I was guided because I don't know why I did it. I picked up a book. Like, I'd never seen anyone around me read anything in their life. Picked up a book and I came across the book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I came across that book at 20. I started reading it and I was just obsessed with what he was saying. I'd never heard anyone speak like that before. All I heard people speak like was, money's hard to earn. You've got to sacrifice others to make money. Money's the root of all evil. You've got to work really hard. You've got to be really smart. So growing up, I just succumbed to the belief that, well, I'm not going to make loads of money in my life because I'm not smart. I got kicked out of school at 13. Napoleon Hill was saying the exact opposite. He was saying there's people that can't read and write that build multi-million pound businesses. And because I was putting these new ideas into my mind, it expanded my mind. And then I was watching YouTube and I came across this old man on YouTube that was dressed all nice and he's shouting and he's telling you can do anything that you want. And that was Bob Proctor. And I was absolutely amazed at what Bob was saying. So from that point on, I knew that I was going to be successful. It took years, it took a long time for the results to come. But when I got hold of Bob and Napoleon Hill, I knew that I could live this life.
Right. What would you say from the book, either Think and Grow Rich and Working with Bob Proctor, or what would you say is the one mindset shift or paradigm shift in your case that really changed the trajectory of your life?
That is so much in Think and Grow Rich. I read Think and Grow Rich every day. I mean, I found Think and Grow Rich 8 years ago and I still read it. I was in bed reading it last night.
Mhm.
Um,
Or if you can only take away one message from that book.
yeah, you got to know what you want. It's important because you can't get to a destination unless you know what that destination is. You know, so we operate like our minds operate like the autopilot on a plane. So if we was to get on a plane and we was to say to the pilot, "Hey pilot, where are we going today?" And the pilot said, "Well, we might go to Dubai, we might go to New York, or we might go into the middle of the ocean." I mean, we won't get on that plane because the plane has no specific destination. So if we go up to the next 100 people anywhere in the world and we ask them what their goal is, 97% of them are going to turn around and say, "What do you mean?" They don't know, right? And it's not enough to say, "I want more money." You can walk to your corner shop and find a pound or a dollar. I mean, that's more money. So I think people have got to know exactly what they want and they've got to have a burning desire to get it. I think that's the biggest thing.
But I also understand the work you do, which is to rewire our subconscious patterns and beliefs. Because knowing one thing could be, yeah, the first step, right? You got to know what you want. But the second step, which I believe would be to, again, how do you reprogram yourself to get what you want? Because a lot of your work is shifting the paradigm, right? Is shifting the
Yeah.
beliefs. So let's say, and you work with so many entrepreneurs, let's say not just entrepreneurs, but for everyone, who wants to make a 10K month, right, in their business, for example. Um, they want that, right? They've been working hard towards their goal, but still it's not happening. So what would you say would be the second step after knowing what you want? Because so many people know what they want, they are still not getting it.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. So the first step to anything is desire. You've got to know what you want and you've got to really want it. That's the first step. That's what Napoleon Hill, the first chapter, well, the second chapter after the introduction is desire, right? So we've got to know what we want, and then we've got to make our mind up that we're going to get it. Now, what stops most people is they say, "Okay, well, this is what I want, but I don't know how to do it," right? We're not supposed to know how to do it. If you knew how to do it, you would have already done it, right? So we've got to know what we want, and then we've got to convince the subconscious mind that it's on the way. right? So I work with my clients a lot with the stick person. So we're trying to change the mind because the mind is in control of our results, but most people don't have an image of the mind to work with. And as human beings, we think in pictures. So if I say think of your mum, think of your dad, an image of your mum and an image of your dad just flashed onto the screen of your mind. When we ask people think of your mind, there is no image. They get an image of the brain, but the brain is not the mind, right? The brain is an electronic switching station, and if I was to slice your body open now, I would find your brain. It's a physical organ. I wouldn't find your mind because it's an activity, right? So this is you, and Dr. Furman Fleet created this. This is the most powerful concept I've ever come across. So imagine that this big circle is your mind, and this little circle is your body, and we split the mind into two parts. So top half is your conscious mind, bottom half is your subconscious mind, right? Now, hooked up to our conscious mind, we have five antennae. So we can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can taste, and we can touch. Now, as long as we live in this physical world, we need to use those five senses, okay? So what we do with our conscious mind is we think. Our conscious mind is our thinking mind. So 24 hours every single day, apart from when we're sleeping, because that gives the conscious mind a rest, we're constantly having this inner chit chatter, inner chit chatter. We can't stop it. Well, that's our conscious mind. So this is where we think, I want this, I want to make 10,000 in a month, I want to build a great business, I want more sales. But the subconscious mind is a lot different. The subconscious mind doesn't think, it feels. So the subconscious mind is known as our feeling or emotional mind. Okay. Now, the body is just an instrument of our mind. So if we tell ourselves, if we have the thought, I can't do this, that thought produces feelings. Those feelings produce actions, and those actions produce results. Okay. Now, the subconscious mind is in control of our vibration. Feeling is just a word that we made up to describe conscious awareness of vibration. So if an entrepreneur is feeling frustrated, they're feeling stuck, they're feeling fed up, what they're really saying is that they're on a frustrated vibration. Whilst they're on that vibration, all they can attract to them is more frustration. So the reason we want to change the subconscious mind is because it controls our vibration. The only way, reliable way to change your subconscious mind is through repetition. It takes a lot of repetition. Okay. So I'll give you an example. When we're babies, we don't have a conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
We only have a subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind cannot reject, it can only accept. So, whatever is impressed upon it, like when I was a baby, money's hard to earn, you've got to be really smart, you've got to work really hard, you've got to hustle, you've got to sacrifice your family and friends and not have no fun to earn money. I believe that because my subconscious mind can't reject it, right? So, my name's Joel, but I am not really Joel. I'm not Joel. That's just a name that I'm probably going to go by for the rest of my life. But I'm not Joel. I'm a spiritual being, and my spiritual DNA is perfect, same as yours. Okay. But when I was a baby, my mum and dad and everyone around me, they planted the idea, Joel, over and over and over again through repetition until it became fixed in my subconscious mind. So, what we want to do is we want to find out what we want, and it wants to be a big goal. We want to find out what we want, and we want to do the same thing that our parents did with our name. We want to plant it over and over and over again through repetition until it becomes fixed in our subconscious mind. Once your subconscious mind accepts your goal, let's say it's £50,000 a month, once your subconscious mind believes it, you're going to feel like you've already done it. In other words, you're on the same vibration as £50,000 a month. You're going to attract the people, the situations, the conditions, and the resources needed to manifest on a physical level what you already have on a spiritual level. I mean, I know that's a lot, but it's very powerful.
Well, I mean, thank you so much for that. It's so mind blowing. So, Yeah, of course. People who are listening to this must be asking this question as well, which is how do we make our subconscious mind believe in our goals? You know,
Repetition.
yeah. So what do you do? Like repetition. Do you mean by positive affirmations, or what do you mean?
So what I would recommend, I take people through thinking into results. So I'm a certified Proctor Gallagher consultant. It's designed by Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher. And lesson one is we have to have a goal, what we just spoke about, and then we get a card. If anyone wants to reach out to me, I can give you the free goal card template. And we write down in present tense, I am so happy and grateful now that,
Mm,
and we write our goal. Now, the reason we do it in present tense is because our subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So if we tell ourselves a lie over and over again, we eventually accept it as true. More importantly, we believe that is true. So if you write down what you want on a card in present tense and you carry it everywhere with you, I guarantee it will happen in your life. Not maybe, not if, it will absolutely happen in your life because we literally become what we think about.
right. Yeah. So how about for business people, entrepreneurs? Um,
Mm-hmm.
you talk about, yeah. Now we understand that it's not about, could it still be strategy problem, because a lot of people are focusing on the spiritual techniques, and they believe in manifestation, law of attraction, and they don't do any work, right? But
Yeah.
we also know that that's not going to work. So how do you help people, entrepreneurs, who still feel stuck or frustrated despite doing everything right? Like, they have done all the strategies, but they are still not getting the business success they want.
Okay. If they're doing all the strategies, it's a belief problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you can get two people, they work for the same sales organization, they get the same sales scripts, they had the same upbringing, they make the same amount of calls, one gets rich and one doesn't. So that shows that it's not about doing certain things, it's about doing certain things in a certain way, right?
Right.
Now, we have the other end of the spectrum where someone takes no action and they think they can just visualize, they can just have the goal card and they take no action. If a person's taking no action towards the goal, there's two things. It's rather they don't, it's the wrong goal and they've got no desire for that goal. It's someone else's goal. It's what the parents want them to achieve. Like your goal has to be a worthy ideal. It has to be an idea that you're in love with, right? So when we desire something, we can't help but take action on it. Okay. Now with business owners, the bottom line at the end of the day is profit. Profit is the first rule of business. If your business isn't making profit, you're going out of business, right? That's going to come from money. Your business needs to earn money. Now, the
Mm,
only way to earn money is to provide service. So, if we look at the wealthiest business owners in the world, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or however you say his name, okay, they earn the most money because they serve the most people. I mean, Amazon's at my door every hour, at my neighbor's door, probably at your door. Jeff Bezos is all over the world serving so many people all the time, right? So the question isn't how do I earn more money in my business? It's how do I provide a greater service? How can I serve more people? And then we're working in harmony with the law of cause and effect. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So for me, for example, I do really well on YouTube, and I also do free live workshops as well. If I go on YouTube, or even now on this podcast, what am I doing? I'm being of service. I
mm,
am giving. It's the law of receiving. Most people want to receive money and they wait to receive, but the law says if you want to receive, you have to give. So this is where we've got to move into action and we've got to start serving people. We've got to start helping people and we've got to forget about the money. The money will come once you improve your service. I always say, do you know, if I help people get what they want, I'm going to get what I want. So we've got to find the balance. It is really 95% mindset and 5% strategy. And the reason is that most obese people, they have the strategy to lose weight. They know they've got to drink more water.
Yep.
They know they've got to stop eating the snacks. They know they've got to start walking, maybe go to the gym. They know the strategy, but just because we know the path, it does not mean that we're going to walk the path.
Right.
Okay. So we have to change the subconscious programming behind it because people watching this, entrepreneurs, they know there's certain actions within their business that if they took action on, it would improve their business. But they don't do it because they're not programmed to do it. And it's not that there's something wrong with them, it's just that their subconscious mind is programmed for the results that they're getting. And anytime they move past it, that's when they procrastinate, the fear kicks in, they start to self sabotage. And if you've got a service or product, you have to move into action and you have to focus on service. You have to go and speak to people. I see a lot of people on social media. Social media is an amazing tool, but it doesn't bring you money unless you use it correctly. So a lot of people are focused on the branding, the marketing, how they look on camera. No, the profit of your organization is speaking to people. If we don't speak to people, we cannot ask them to jump on a call. If we don't ask them to jump on a call or meet in person, we cannot ask for the sale. We have to ask for the sale if we want to earn profit.
Yeah. And a lot of entrepreneurs today, they are like the last thing they want to do is a sales call, right? Because they are afraid of selling. Like so many people are afraid of selling, right? Or asking for money.
Yeah.
How do you help people overcome the fear of selling?
Yeah, that's a great question. You've got to change your belief from selling is helping.
Mm,
That's number one. I used to have that. Whoa, I've got to ask people for money. Da, 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 da. Selling is helping. When I hop on a call with someone, if I don't sell them, I cannot help them. I've just moved into a new beautiful home. If the owners did not sell me on this home, they couldn't help me by putting my family in a beautiful home. When you want to go on holiday, if the hotel doesn't sell you with the images and how it looks and the images of the food, if they don't sell that to you, they can't help you by allowing you to have an amazing experience. So salespeople have got to get into their mind that selling is helping, and we always have to give a person more in use value than we receive in cash value. If you're not doing that, then you're doing our industry a disservice. You should always be giving people more in use value than you receive in cash value. And sales is all about vibration. Okay. So we can't get on calls with people and be saying to them, I want to help you. And then subconsciously, we're letting off the vibration that all I want right now is your money. They'll feel it. They'll feel it. And that's where you'll get objections. I need to speak to my partner. I need to think about it because they're feeling something's off. They're not connected with you. And it's because you're not on the right vibration. You're coming from a place of desperation instead of a place of detachment. When I get on a sales call, I don't really care if the person joins or not. I want them to because it would change their life. But my goal's already done in my mind. And that detachment really helps as well. I would suggest every salesperson has to work on their self-image. So what I get all my clients to do is they write out a detailed description in present tense of the person that they want to be, and it's real detailed. So I'm so happy and grateful now that and I'm a master salesman. People are pre-sold before they even get on calls with me. I show up to sales calls in a spirit of service. I always attract decision makers. I attract people who pay for my program in full, commit to it, and get absolutely amazing results. And you just go on and go on and go on. I dress like this on sales calls. I smell like this. You go into detail, you make a recording of it, and you listen to it over and over and over and over and over again until your subconscious mind accepts it. Once you're emotionally involved with that new recording, you're going to start acting like it. So it's called the actor's technique. It's what an actor does. When an actor gets a role in a film, all they get is just a book like this, a script with just writing on it. But what do? They read it, they read it again, they memorize it, they internalize it, and then they become it. They become that person on screen. Well, you can do the same with your life. You become the star of your life. And you can do that with sales as well. I would if someone implements the action step, write out a detailed description of you as a salesperson, record it, listen to it a minimum of 4 times a day, you're going to start selling a lot more. You're going to be way more efficient.
Well, I love that technique. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, how about initially we know, reputation is key, yes, but initially we still have certain emotions like negative emotions,
Yeah.
undesirable emotions when we say things to ourselves that we don't even believe is true yet, right? So how do you deal with the initial, because and people might give out because they might say, they might listen to these recordings for 2 months, 3 months, and still no results, and they might give out, right? So
Yeah.
how do you help your clients stay on the track and make sure they really get to the results no matter how long it takes?
Yeah. Well, my clients stay on track because they've got accountability. That's a
Right.
big thing, right? I came across Bob Proctor at 20. I was making £15,000 a year. I was in the modeling industry. 6 years later, I was still making £15,000 a year. So 3 years ago, I was making £15,000 a year. I was doing a job I hated, right? And I knew all of this information. I knew about gold cards. I was watching Bob on YouTube. But what you said, I was doing it for a bit and
Yeah.
then falling off. Doing it for a bit and then falling off. When I invested in mentorship, there is no falling off. Mentorship is an insurance policy against failure. We take out insurance on our house. We take out insurance on our car. People don't take out insurance on the goals, right? And they're scared to, some people are scared to invest in themselves when themselves are the most important thing that they should invest in. So that's a very important thing for me personally is mentorship. Paradigms are very hard to change. We're dealing with deep rooted beliefs, and you wouldn't try and drive a car for the first time without a mentor. No, we go to someone who's got the result that we want and we sit with them. They show us how to do it, and then after a while we're like, hey, then we're speaking to the kids in the car, but at first we're like, ooh, this is like really difficult. Well, earning money is the exact the same way. But it takes a lot of repetition. And also what you've got to understand as well is that failing at something doesn't make you a failure. If I came on here and talked about the amount of failures that that I've that I've done and the amount of times that I've failed in my life, I'd probably ruin your day. Right? But failing at something doesn't make you a failure. You're only a failure when you stop. And if you quit, that's a decision. You made a decision to quit, no matter how hard it got for me. I've had some times when the outside world was telling me it was not going to happen, but I knew if I hold this idea in my mind, it has to manifest into physical form. So this is where persistence comes into play. The universe is not just going to hand you something on a plate. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep going. I'm not religious, but it says it in the Bible.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, and knock and the door will be opened. But what do people do? They knock once. Oh, it's not opening. Are
Yeah.
your knuckles raw from knocking? Are you doing everything you can? Is your throat hurting from asking? So we got to keep going. We've got to be persistent with it. And remember, if you fail at something, it doesn't make you a failure. You're only a failure when you stop. You've got to ask yourself, am I able to create an extraordinary business and life for myself? The answer is yes. That place that you see in your mind, it's a real place. It's just on a different frequency. The next question is, are you willing? Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Thomas Edison was willing to fail 10,000 times. He was willing to do that. I've took over 800 sales calls in the past 18 months and I've enrolled about 50 people. I was willing to get told no 750 times. You got to ask yourself, are you willing to do whatever it takes? Most people might say they're willing, but when it comes to doing the work, are you really willing? Do you really want your goal as much as you want to breathe? When you want your goal as much as you want to breathe, that's when it's going to start to happen for you. So it's desire, it's persistence, and it's discipline, Joanne.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I think I still think hard work doesn't equal results because
Hmm.
in my life, I have worked hard and I didn't get to where I wanted to be, right? And I learned that like the hardest way, right? Hard work doesn't always equal to success in life, in business. So can you explain why effort or hard work, hustle doesn't always equal results in business? Because someone might be taking a lot of sales call, right? Maybe like 50 in a day. And yet, if they don't believe they are the master salesperson, they can make a lot of
Yep.
money. No matter how many calls they make, they might still hear all the notes, right? So how do you explain like how our unconscious patterns again, and you talk about cause and effect, override our conscious actions, which is hard work, hustle, and all that?
That's a great question. Well, the conscious mind's in control of what we know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it's the thinking mind is where we gather information. So
Yeah.
the conscious mind is in control of what we know. The subconscious mind is in control of what we do with what we know. So someone could have all this information, they read all these sales books,
Yep.
but just because they know it, it doesn't mean they're going to execute it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? But when it comes to hard work, the reason hard work's not the answer is let's just look at the world. If we look at the hardest workers, they're the people in Dubai building those massive buildings in super like hot weather, working 16 hours a day. They're probably working. I mean, there might be some people working harder than that, but I assume like that's really hard work. That's physical,
Yeah.
mental, and they're probably making like $400 a month. I used to speak to some of them over there, absolutely broke. Like they've come from India and stuff because the money's a little bit more there, but they're working really hard. And then when you see these, successful people, they're taking 6-week vacations to the Bahamas, they're on ski trips, they're playing golf all day. So the reason is, and I'll quote Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, when money comes in what's known as the big money, it never comes through hard work. It comes through definiteness of purpose, which is knowing what you want and state of mind. It comes from a state of mind. So someone could be at their laptop working all day long, but they're thinking in their mind, I'm poor. Doesn't matter how hard they work, as long as they still have that thought in their consciousness, that thought, I am poor, causes feelings of poorness, sets up a vibration of poorness, causes them to take actions of poorness, but also sets up a magnetic attraction as well. So the reason why hard work alone, and I'm not saying at times in your life you're not going to put in effort. I go over and beyond for my clients. I always go the extra mile, but I'm also mixing it with the belief as well. Makes sense? So I work. Sometimes I can work, 10-hour days, but I love it. It don't feel like work, you
Mm.
know? So the reason is because it's frequencies. So for example, we're doing an amazing podcast now. When we set this up, you sent me a link. Hey, this is where we're going to do the podcast. Well, all that podcast link is a frequency. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a frequency, like a phone number is a frequency. Everything operates on frequencies. So if you would have sent me the wrong podcast link, no matter how many times I bash this mouse on that link, I'm never going to get through to this podcast because it's the wrong frequency. So, this is what most people are doing. They're working really hard, but they're coming to their goal. You've got to come from your goal. Albert Einstein said it, everything in life is energy. And that's all there is to it. If you match the frequency of the reality that you want, you cannot help but get that reality. He said, this is not philosophy, this is physics. So we've got to match the frequency. If we're tuned into channel one on the television, you don't have to press the button hard to get onto another channel. We just need to tune in to a different frequency. When we tune in to prosperity, to opulence, to wealth, to love, all on that frequency, all we can attract is more of it. I've created an absolutely phenomenal life for myself, but I study this every single day. It's the studying of you. How do you work? And when you start to see this world in terms of vibrations and frequencies, and you realize that every thought that you entertain is a frequency, then you can really start to predict your own future.
Right. Like show me your mind and I can show you your future, right?
A
So
hundred percent.
yeah, I know Bob Proctor also talk a lot about raising your vibration, raising your frequency. I'm just thinking, you mentioned about someone who might be poor. They might be stuck in a small town, for example, or small village. Whenever they are, not doesn't have to be India, but anywhere in the world, right? They are poor and they are in a small town or villages, doing all the hard work or physical hard work. How do they raise their frequency to match the wealth or the riches without changing their external environment? Because they can't
You
afford.
can.
Yeah, how?
Yeah, you change the environment. What you do is you go on wherever you are in the world. If you're in a poor environment, you go on my YouTube and you stick me in on your headphones 24 hours a day. Boom. That's what I do. I'm always listening to Bob. I'm always reading. Even if
Mm,
I've got my family in my car, I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to my self-image script whilst I'm driving. It's reprogramming. We live in like an amazing world where it's so small. You can go on YouTube.
yeah.
I've got thousands of videos on YouTube. You just click play and you just listen, listen, listen. And the more I'm just going to keep reprogramming your mind. It's just
Mm,
going to keep reprogramming, reprogramming. And then you're spending 8 hours a day with me instead of 8 hours a day with people who have no clue about wealth and stuff like that. So that's how you can change your environment. Anyone can do it. This is like a computer, like a in your pocket, right?
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, totally, right? The environment you gotta change is your internal environment, is your mind. Yeah, it's not about your physical environment. Now the year is coming to an end and we talk about goal setting and all. You talk about desire, you have to want the goal really bad and it's gonna be the right goal, it's not the wrong goal. For all my listeners listening to this right now, how would you do you have a framework for goal setting? And to make sure that this is really the goal that you want, right? And you're gonna do whatever it takes to
Yes.
to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, so the mentorship that I take people through is designed by Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher, and I'm a licensed Proctor Gallagher consultant. So this program, you go through it with me, and
Hmm.
I've been trained on how to facilitate it. Because what usually happens is someone will buy a course or they'll buy a mentorship, but then they go to study it and they're studying it through the paradigms like a lens, like it only sees things that are in harmony with those ideas. So my job is to make sure you're implementing it. So yeah, lesson one is all about really clearly defining your goal, and you're not even allowed to lesson two until we've got your C type goal, because it's not going to work if the first step is knowing what you want. So I help them really focus on what it is that they want, why they want it, and really help them build that desire. But thinking into results is it's the program I went through. And before I went through it, I was not in a good place. So the only reason that I went to work with Bob is because of the results that I seen. And I took my family to Dubai, I took my daughter to Dubai, and when I was in Dubai, I was just looking around like, oh my gosh, I need to teach this material. It's changed my life. So that's when I went to work with Bob. But thinking into results is what it says on the tin, you know? It's how to turn your thinking into results. 97% of the population, they let their results control their thinking. And that's why year after year, if you go and ask the next 100 people what they earned over the past 5 years, it's going to be very similar, because they never change them. They never change their thinking. And they need to realize that our outside world is a reflection of our inside world. I had a friend round at my house yesterday, and he's like, oh, yeah, it's just this month, like it's coming up to Christmas or business. I was like, I don't accept that. This is going to be the best month of my life. I'm not going to accept anything that is not in harmony with my ideal, right? So thinking into results is a program for leaders and entrepreneurs that want to absolutely skyrocket their results without overworking, without burning yourself out, with being happy, being able to do things with your family at the same time. And also in January, I'm running a free live workshop, which may be of benefit to your even to you and your audience as well. It's called the Magnetic Business Launchpad. It's going to be over 5 days. It's going to be incredible.
Sure. Send me the link to join the live
Yes.
workshop. I will be sure to include in this podcast as well. Thank you so much for that. Now, is there anything else that you really want to talk about? Perhaps I didn't do my job well, didn't ask you.
Listen, you've been an incredible. It's been incredible, right?
Thank
What you's watching this? I want you to go and grab a pen
Mm-hmm.
right now. Okay. I want you to get a piece of paper and I want you to write down exactly what it is that you want. I bet most of you have not done that. I
Yeah.
promise you do it. Get a pen, write down what it is that you want, and carry it in your pocket everywhere with you, and you will not regret it. You'll be amazed at the results.
And write in present tense, right?
Right in present tense, I am so happy and grateful now that I have turned my yearly income into a monthly income. You write
Mm.
that down, you carry it everywhere with you, and watch what happens. I'm excited to hear all the messages. Wow.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for your time and your generous sharing. I learned so much from you today. And now tell my people if they want to work with you, if they want to learn more about what you do you offer like a free session, discovery session, so that they can learn more about what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So you can we have my YouTube channel where I'm being of service a lot of the time. If people want to go deeper, they can book a one-to-one call with me. Just a simple conversation, find out where they are, find out what it is that they're struggling with, where they want to be, and then if I feel like thinking into results is the solution, then we can dive into that and we can discuss to see if we're the right fit. And also the Magnetic Business Launchpad in January. That's going to be a 5-day workshop where I'm specifically going to be showing you how to attract more clients and more cash flow. I've also created a workbook for that as well. So it's not just I'm not just about information. We want one thing, and that's results, and results are going to come from action, right? And this information, what I'm speaking about, is amazing, but if we don't act on it, then nothing happens. So it's going to be really interactive, this workshop, and we're going to be making sure that you're taking massive action within the workshop, so we can get 2026 off to a great start for you. Yeah, I'd say them three things: my YouTube. You can book a call to me if you want to find out about thinking into results, and then also the workshop in January as well.
That sounds really amazing. Yeah, I would love to join the workshop and yeah,
Yes, come along.
do it. Yes. All right. So guys, I know you love today's episode because you are listening to the very end. I would say go back and listen from the start again and again and again. Repetition is key, right? And go ahead, share this on your IG story, social media. Tag me and tag Joel, and we would love to hear what is your biggest takeaway from today's episode. And I will always leave
Yes.
it the same way as I leave with every other episode. Show up, the world needs you, and you need you. Thanks for listening, and I wish you all a joyful and amazing day ahead. Thank you again for tuning into Find Joey Joanne podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a screenshot and share it on your IG story and tag Find Joey Joanne _podcast so I know you are listening. And leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already done so. And remember to hit the subscribe button whether you are listening on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, or any of your other favorite platforms. If you love what we are doing and want to become one of our sponsors, you can send me a DM to connect. And thanks for being here. I will see you soon in the next episode.